guys, Korean dumpling में आपका स्वागत है. मेरा नाम Rebecca है.
Tiger Hall, Puning Leto, Korean dumpling. Oh, hi Arnav.
What are we doing today?
Today we were supposed to make. So I put up a poll and I asked a few options, and some people wanted to hear our story again, but this time I put it like in Hindi. So we had to kind of narrate the entire story in Hindi. So I don't think you're prepared for that.
No.
So before we put that out, somebody commented to react to this new song by Big Deal rapper. The last song we did, I'm not an Indian, I'm an Indian, the rap song, and then featuring Gnie from the UNI. So they have like collaborated for a song now, and it's a controversial title. It's called I Am Chinkey, which is obviously it's a sensitive topic for you personally. Obviously.
I didn't like that word.
Yeah, and then also in India, obviously a lot of people, it's the word has been, you can't call other people like that, and it's a crime. But a lot of people face these problems, and due to coronavirus, these things have gone up. It's not just saying the word; it's also just acting kind of against people and treating Northeast Indian people or anybody from Southeast Asia or East Asia, treating them as untouchables, because people think, oh, anybody who's Chinese or remotely related to Chinese has COVID, or they are gonna transmit COVID to everybody else, which is not the case, obviously. So there's a song about this, and we're gonna watch that, and we're gonna quickly react to that. And obviously you don't like the word, so you can reserve your comments for later, but hopefully the song kind of puts the message across.
Really hate that word.
Such a negative connotation to it.
कभी बोले मोमो आजकल बोले कोरोना सोचे आती ना मुझे हिंदी अबे बुरे नजर वाले अपने आंखों को खोल के फिर सच को देख के खेत के आंसू में अपने पापों को धोले. Oh, so all of us look the same. So if I see your girl, then you won't know who to blame. I love Hindustan, mera pride और मेरी जान, but no one gives a damn about floods up in Assam. I know they're getting harder, zooming on girls are easy, and you never see this face in a movie or on your TV. There is generational racism in the DNA. People want their freedom, they're screaming हमें जीने दे. A prisoner in my home. ये सोच कैसे बदलेगी जब शिक्षा में है खोट. ये जड़ से सड़ा हुआ सिस्टम का है दोष. I know that you know that I know that we know I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. I'm a chicky, chicky, chicky,
Momo.
chicky, 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 chicky. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. मैं पैदा कहाँ हुआ वो नहीं था मेरा चॉइस. मेरा चेहरा लगे बुरा वो नहीं था मेरा चॉइस. रगों में बहता खून शरीर में रहता रूह. You and me, I am you, बस वही है मेरा choice. Look, I'm tired of this game, always looking for who to blame. Maybe we can be the change even if we do not look the same. छोटी आँख छोटा नाक और ये सारे छोटी बात को मिटा के आज मिलाते हम दोनों के बड़े हाथ. Respecting every girl in the world that should come easy, and I guess I'm gonna look devastatingly good on TV. Yeah, replace the hate with unity in our DNA. बोझ हटेगी सीने से आखिर में एक साथ जिएंगे. 7 sisters and a bro, but yeah मत भूलो कि there are 29 more. भारत परिवार 134 crores. I know that you know that I know that we know I'm a. For a change, let this word empower us and be a reminder instead of demean us. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. My identity's in question. I'm a chicky, chicky, chicky. I'm down with it. Introduce myself. I'm a Chinese looking Indian. Raps like an American. A black, white, brown, yellow man. What? I'm a fucking chameleon. Blend in or stand out, I'm resilient. Indian but a global citizen. A woke millennia, a poet speaking to the souls of listeners like a psychic medium. Reaching for the moon like the lovable villain in this obedient yellow minion. Genius. Identity politicians hate this brilliance, captivating all the women and children. Game views by the million. Unify the youth, plant a seed in them. Long arms, yeah, I'm reaching them across divisive race and religion, and I'm healing them. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky. I'm a chicky, 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 chicky,
Was that last part a bit like
a Kynmo? Yeah. Right. So that was the song. I mean, we can go through a few parts which is in Hindi to explain it to you maybe if you didn't understand. So we can start with maybe this part.
What's bothering me about this part though is none of them are wearing their mask correctly until later.
I know.
You should be wearing it properly.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Well, that's not the point of the video, right?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's a music video, so you understand. It's obviously whatever. But did you understand this part? Mujhe kabhi bole Chinkey or kabhi bole Momo.
Something about Momo.
Yeah, so basically they're saying they call them Chinkey, sometimes they call them Momo. Because they relate it. I mean, because it's kind of the food from. It's their food basically, right? So they, like somebody would call me curry or somebody would call you dumpling. I mean, we are curry and dumpling, but it's used in a bad, negative connotation where like, hey, Momo wala or whatever. Like they like, oh, you're a Momo seller or whatever.
Okay.
So they said they call them Corona in Hindi, thinking that other people don't really know.
But Corona is
but they
is
would,
that the Hindi word for Corona?
Yeah. We just you
that's anyone can hear.
Exactly, but they would say they would not just say the word Corona. They would say a sentence in Hindi that look at that person going. It's a Corona transmitter.
But still,
they would say in Hindi.
You would hear la 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 Corona.
Yeah.
La 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 la. You know that they're talking about you.
No, depends, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Because they think that if they speak in Hindi, they would not understand. If somebody just says, "Oh, that person," look at that coronavirus is going. Obviously, these guys in Hindi they understand because obviously everybody knows Hindi these days. So people think they don't speak Hindi at all, so they can just say anything behind the backs, which is quite sad. And then abe buri nazar wale aankhon ko khol ke, like they kind of think of them as like people who like can curse them and stuff. फिर सच को देख के खेत के आंसू में अपने पापड़ को धो ले. Oh wow, that's a long sentence. कि फिर सच को देख के खेत के आंसू में अपने पापों को धो ले. All right, so he just said when you see the truth, you need to like wash your eyes and actually like see what the actual truth is. It's not what you think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so all of us look the same? So if I see your girl, then you won't know who to blame. I love Hindustan, mera pride or meri jaan, but no one gives a damn about floods up in Assam. I know they're getting harder, zooming our girls are easy, and you never see this face in a movie or on your TV. There is generational racism in the DNA. People want their freedom, they're screaming, hame jeene de. A prisoner in my home. Ye soch kaise badlegi jab shiksha mein.
So ये सोच कैसे बदलेगी जब शिक्षा में है quote. So they're saying it's not that the reason why the thinking is like this is because it's an institutional problem. It's the education, it's from the ground up, right? Like people are educated in a way where they think that these people are not a part of our country. So it's not.
Do you think that it will be something that in generations to come, like, will get better? Because the people who think like this will, they'll die, and then hopefully the next generation will see better.
It's getting better, right? If you think about 50 years ago versus now, it is getting better, and people are opening their eyes up. And like we have singers like rapper Big Deal and Gnie, and these guys are obviously coming into the mainstream media. So eventually, yes, but there will be some families who are living in like far villages.
But there'll always be like there are still people who are.
There's always going to be racist. You can't get rid of them. So basically, and then there was a sentence where he said, "Let this word be used as a power and not to demean them," which is quite a strong sentence to say. Where I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
you understand you're coming from a place where you've been always used this. You've been called this as a negative word.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what they're saying. They need to change the whole kind of view behind this. Like you can now, what we have been in this world, this word just means negative connotation. Like it has a negative connotation, but for once, if you use this as something as a strength, like it can't. It depends on how you use the word, right?
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I understand what he's saying.
And I also understand where you're coming from. You can't see that word in a positive light
No,
at
I
all.
can't, yeah.
Which I understand.
But I know there are Chinese people, like my ex even, he would call himself that. And he'd be fine with that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there are people who don't care being called that. Because they're like, I am Chinese or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't personally.
No, that's fair and that's fine. Obviously, you went through certain period of your life where you were called that name and you didn't have a good time with that experience. But yeah, so I mean, I think this is just showing that this needs to stop.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future, this term can have a positive ring to it. It doesn't have to be always a negative. It doesn't have to be.
I just don't see why anyone has to call you that.
I know. I get it.
Like, why do you have to put a label on it? Like, why can't you just say, oh, you're Chinese or you're Northeast Indian or...
Yeah, I know.
Why do you have to use the word?
I get it. No, I get that. But it's a very powerful song where, they are saying that, people need to open their eyes up and then people need to wash their brains and shit. Like, because this is such a sensitive topic where people just keep using this thing. Like, even yesterday, I was talking to Satya, my friend, right? And he said when he had a client or somebody, a colleague from Singapore who had visited him in India. And it was just before the lockdown in March. And because obviously that time it was all about China and Chinese, that coronavirus coming. So whenever they used to go to some clubs or whatever, nice posh places in Mumbai, they would serve him as if it's you're untouchable, which is stupid, right?
I never experienced that because we went to India in Feb, right?
Yeah.
Early Feb.
Yeah. So even early Feb was really early, end of Jan.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, it's only in China.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about this.
I didn't
People
really
were just
feel
traveling.
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think even as the closer it got to March, closer it got to lockdown, I think things started picking up, and it was related to only Chinese people. It's from Wuhan, and people are spreading that thing in China. So it's just weird. And did you see the scene where he was eating momo?
Yeah, I didn't understand what happened.
So what happened was he went to a shop where the momo seller was not a Northeastern Indian. He had it momo and he was walking away.
Yeah.
This other guy comes in on the phone.
Yeah.
And he thinks that other Northeast Indian guy is the shopkeeper for the momo, and he's asking for momo, and then the shopkeeper comes he's a customer, let him go, I am the seller. So he's just thinking automatically that because he's Northeast Indian, the momo shop is his.
Okay.
It's that you're making that subconscious bias where you see someone of that ethnicity or of that region, and you just automatically think that person is a momo seller just because momos are traditionally eaten in that part of the country.
But to be fair with that, I always feel like if I go, for example, if I'm going to eat Indian food and the people who are cooking are not Indian people, I'm always like, is it really going to be authentic?
No, I agree.
Or same with Chinese food.
Yeah.
If it's
absolutely.
If it's a white family who's running a Chinese shop, I'd be like, is it really?
Yeah, I agree with that. But you have to think about, we are in a country where, we are not in India. But in India, it's such a diverse country where there are people from all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like momos is just... it's eaten in Delhi, it's eaten in Bombay, Bangalore, everywhere.
And also, even though he didn't look Northeast Indian, he could still be, right? It's not like all Northeast Indians look.
Exactly. You have people in Assam that don't look like, they look more like Bengalis and stuff. Or they could look very much like Chinese. It depends what the hereditary stuff is. So you can't put oh, you look like this, so you must be from there. So yeah, I think it's something that obviously needs to change. And hopefully it changes, and talking about it, spreading the word about it, hopefully this goes to more people and changes the views and minds about this.
I feel like the rapper Big Deal does quite controversial stuff.
He does.
Like the other video as well. It's very...
He does. I mean, you know why?
Touches a nerve.
Because he's half Indian and half Japanese. And of course...
So he's not even Northeast Indian?
He's not. He's from Orissa.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like myself. I was born in Cuttack.
So
right?
he's basically what our kid would be.
Basically.
Yeah.
So his mom is Japanese and his
Yeah.
father is
Yeah.
Korea, Indian.
Yeah.
So, and growing up, he probably went through a lot of stuff like that because, you know, you have this kind of where like you can't relate or you can't call yourself either one of them. And, you know, like obviously I don't know how it's going to be for our kid.
Because they're gonna be half Indian, half Chinese, brought up in Scotland.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Exactly. So I hope that, you know, the kid doesn't have that many issues in the future, but he's our age and, you know, he's grown up when we all grew up. So 20 years ago.
I think it'll be different though, because growing up here, there'll be a lot of different races. Maybe not necessarily an Indian-Chinese mix, but you'll probably meet Indian, Chinese, and then any other in between.
There will be a bit more
European, yeah.
But yeah, like he that's why he does these kind of songs and tries to kind of hit those sensitive spots.
Yeah.
Because it's probably...
I think it's good to also stress though that it's not that all Indians are like the bad people in his videos.
No, absolutely not. Like, you know,
because I do think that in some of the comments that we get, people are like, oh, but not everyone's like that. But I don't think that's what the video is. The video is not saying like, but all in like mainland Indians or whatever are bad. It's saying that there are bad people, and I think we should be aware of that.
And it's not like when we make a video about this, it's not like we're trying to focus on the negatives.
We're not.
India is a great place, you know, it's my home and I grew up and, you know, we have always enjoyed in India. It's just that these things that happen, that needs to stop happening. Yeah,
there was one comment that said that someone said something like that, they didn't like me because they think that I'm against India. But that's the whole point of our channel is that
it's not like the reason we are together is because, you know,
we love each other's cultures and stuff.
So just saying that she's trying to brainwash me into like, oh, I hate India, India is not great, or anything like on those lines, it's completely untrue. Like that doesn't work like that. I love, you know, my country and I love being Indian, but I also love China and Chinese culture and Hong Kong and everything that comes with it. And that's why we're together, you know.
We also don't hate China. Like I think some people think that.
Yeah, like I love China. Like China is great, and Chinese people are really nice. And you know, I've worked with some Chinese people, and they're absolutely fantastic people to be, you know, working with and be friends with. It's the you know, people are saying, oh, these songs are like propaganda channels or spreading propaganda and spreading hatred among people. That's not the whole point of the video.
It's about spreading awareness of what happens to people who are not the norm, who are essentially minorities.
Yeah. As an Indian, it's easy to say that, oh, that doesn't happen in my country.
Yeah.
Because it never happens to you.
Yeah.
And it probably never happened in front of you, even if you had a few Eastern friends, and probably never happened to them in front of you. But maybe back home for them, it happened to their parents. You know, I've read comments where they said somebody's sister went to Delhi to study, and she was like racially abused,
and then she went back,
and she had to go back. She has to leave a job that she successfully earned it, left the job and went back to Assam because she could not just tolerate and keep up with that anymore, which is sad. So it's, you know, these things happen and these things need to stop. And you know, songs like this and us talking like this, it's you know, way of just spreading the news and spreading the word that, you know,
it's about being accepting of other people. And also if you see something happening, like in part of this video there was a bit where this guy was getting beaten up, right? And with the girl. Like if you see things happening, you should speak up. And like the more people that say that no, this is wrong, the better. And the more that we can make things like this not happen, and we can make things like these videos and these, you know, the types of things that he's saying happens, those things can happen less, and we can stamp it out.
It's important to speak up, because it's easy to not speak up, and it's easy to keep quiet, and easy to be like, you know what, this shit just happens because this is how it is. But that's not the whole point of 2020 or just, you know, life. Modern days. You have to be able to do the right thing and just, I don't even know. It is something that needs to change, and it's not just India.
Yeah, no, every
happens
country.
here, happens
Yeah.
in developed countries,
Yeah.
happens in the US, happens in Canada, happens in the UK, happens in Australia, happens in Hong Kong as well. Between Hong Kong, you know, like I as a Indian person, I have faced racism in Hong Kong.
And even in Hong Kong, between mainland Chinese and Hong Kong Chinese,
happens.
there is racism there too.
Exactly. So it's not like I'm just saying, or we are saying that only happens in India.
No.
It happens across the globe, which needs to stop happening and be more accepting. So, and I've read hundreds of articles of racism since March. People in London getting beat up.
Even in Edinburgh, in one of our favourite ramen places,
Yeah.
someone got beaten up.
It's not
which is horrible.
Just not even ramen
Yeah.
places. Last week I read an article on Facebook. Somebody posted on one of the Facebook groups that in Edinburgh University, a group of students came up and somebody was sitting outside the library and having their dinner, got beat up because he was Asian. Like, in just outside a university, you can't even feel safe where you're studying. So, do you see the problem? It's not just in Pan India; it's across the whole world. So hopefully these things can change, and these things can get better as we move into the next year. Because all we want is just everybody to be just happy and be accepting. If we can accept each other, why can't everyone else accept? You don't have to love each other, but be accepting and have an open mind and be friendly. That's all that it takes. Anyway, no more of ranting.
It felt like a depressing video.
It is a very depressing topic. It is a very depressing thing to talk about, but it's also very important to talk about because this happens in front of your eyes, and we don't bat an eyelid, and we just get on with our life. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and thank you for recommending whoever recommended. It was a nice song. The title is a bit not nice, but it's a strong, powerful message. Anyway, let us know if you guys have any other kind of recommendations on other videos that you want us to do. And if you guys have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and help us cross 30K. And yeah, see you in the next video.
Bye.